Okay, moving on. Terms and factors are often combined in algebraic expressions. Most of the time they're combined. So here's an example. 2x squared plus 6x has two terms, 2x squared and 6x. The factors of the first term are 2x and x, because x squared just means x times x, right? The 2 counts the number of factors of x. This 2 here, oops, can't find where I am. This 2 here is counting the number of factors of x. This 2 is actually counting the number of terms of x squared, because you could think of this as x squared plus x squared, right? So this is counting terms, and that's counting factors of x. But it's easier just to think of 2 as a factor of this whole thing, right? It's 2 times x, right? 2 times x, or it's 2 times x squared, or it's 2x times x, or 2x squared. These are all factors of 2x squared, right? And it's the same thing I did on the previous page. The second term, 6 is a factor of the second term, 2 is a factor, 3 is a factor, x is a factor, 3x is a factor, 2x is a factor, and 6x is a factor of 6x. It's all these different ways of thinking about it. You have to be able to think about it these different ways in order to do algebra properly. Okay? But 6 is not a factor of the whole expression. Only of the second term. So see, we have the whole expression, then we have terms of the expression, and then we have factors of the terms. So there's these structures within structures kind of thing going on. This is another type of example like this. This is the product of two factors. 2, the number 2, and the algebraic expression 3x plus 1. So one factor is 2, the other factor is 3x plus 1. Those two things are being multiplied. 3 is not a factor of the whole expression, right? Oops, sorry, circling the wrong thing. 3 is not a factor of the whole expression. 3 is only a factor of the first term of the second factor of the whole thing. So you have a factor and a factor. Then within this factor, inside this factor, you have two terms, 3x and 1. Those are terms of this factor, not of the whole thing. And then inside the first term of this factor, you have the first term of this factor has a factor of 3 and a factor of x, and if you want, a factor of 3x. So there's factor of what? Factor of the whole thing, factor of the first term of this factor. You have to get used to this kind of stuff. Math works just works like this. There's big structure on the outside, then there's little structures inside it, and little structures inside of those, and sometimes it goes even further than that. Okay? First term of the second factor is 3x. Second term of the second factor of the whole thing is 1. 3 and x are factors of 3x, not of the whole expression, just of the 3x. Right? Also, one I wanted to mention, I did mention on a previous slide, a previous video, but 1 is a factor of any term, as is negative 1. So, for example, 2x squared can be written as 1 times 2x squared. So 1 is obviously a factor of 2x squared. negative 1 is also a factor of 2x squared. You just have to multiply it by negative 2x squared. Right? Negative 1 times negative 2x squared is 2x squared. So the negative 1 here is a factor of 2x squared. And sometimes we want to break it out that way because sometimes we might want a factor of negative 1. And you could always do that.